Another football guy. Go back to the old days. Don's boys and Claude's boys. And Claude could coach the hell out of defense. You know what I mean? So it's not just offensive guys from those era, not just offensive guys from Don's era. I mean, it was, well, Don Coryell's defensive scheme, and I asked him one time, basically was like this: get me the ball back so we can score again. That was Don's defensive scheme, and hence we had Air Coryell. When I got here to start Aztec football broadcasting in 1978, all I kept hearing was Mike Douglas and Whip Walton, Whip Walton, Whip Walton, Whip Walton, all the time. Legendary type guys, and this was 1978, for gosh sakes. And I know we've had marvelous linebackers of late. We've had Kirk Morrison, we've had Jake Feely, we've had Miles Burris, who's been with the Raiders the last few years. But it does go back to those guys that's laid the foundation, and it's kind of fitting, I think, in the last one to be here, Calvin Munson of last year, who has just last month made the New York Giant roster. This guy played for the New York Giants also when he left here in 1980. Nice symmetry, I believe. Very nice symmetry. Well, again, you take a look at the screen and the induction into the 2017 Aztec Hall of Fame for Whip Walton.
During the mid-'70s, Whip Walton dominated on defense at San Diego State. During his Aztec career, Walton became the all-time leading tackler in school history, 407, a four-year starter, during which time the team's record was 36-7-1. His 139 tackles his senior year was the fourth most in single-season history. Whip was a team captain in 1977, played in the 1977 East-West All-Star Game, was the 75th player selected in the 1978 NFL Draft, going to the Minnesota Vikings in the third round. Whip Walton, member of the 2017 Aztec Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Whip, and this is his, it's not a nickname, that's his name, Whip Walton.
Hello. I'm here to tell you there's a big difference between a linebacker and a quarterback. A big difference, and it's also typical that the quarterback always goes first, right? But what I'd like to do here tonight is just be grateful and be humble and be quick and be seated. You know, I'd like to thank the Induction Committee and the Weiss Foundation. Thank you very much. And congratulations to the fellow inductees. You know, it's an honor to go in with this class. You know, really, I've contemplated this here for the last few weeks, and I'm very honored to be inducted with this class. And I'd like to thank my wife, Lisa. We're going to be married 30 years in 3 days. Yay. My daughter, Elizabeth, is here, and Gavin. And just I've got some fellows in a fellowship I belong to, and thanks for showing up, guys. And the people who organized this thing were fantastic. You know, I really appreciate all the hard work that went into it. And the former players that I've played with or that played before me that are sitting here tonight, thanks a lot, guys. I mean, you know, we have something in common. And it's awesome. You know, we know what we did on the field, you know. And Claude Gilbert, you know, what can I say about Claude Gilbert? Except that I love him and respect him like his players did. Claude, he had a temper, you know, and some of you may have experienced it. But this man is literally affected my life. I grew up, you know, with him. I redshirted my freshman year and played for 4 years, and he was amazing. And I learned so much from him. When I was drafted, I remember going by the coach's office, and I went up to Claude, and I go, Claude, I'm so lucky. And this, what he said to me next was, I still live with, and he says, Whip, luck is when hard work meets opportunity. And that's the first time I heard that, and it just certainly applies, and Claude's a stud. And Ted Tollner and Al Hammerschmidt are here. Hammer, you know, those of you who know Hammer, he makes you smile. And Ted, legendary. Thanks for being here. And then there's a guy that when I came in as a freshman, and there was another freshman linebacker ahead of me, and his name was Travis Hitt. You know, I kept hearing about Travis Hitt. And Hitt, right? This guy, a linebacker named Hitt. And Whip is my real name, as Ted mentioned. And so we introduced ourselves, and I mean Whip and Hitt, right? Think about it. I mean, and then we end up starting together for 3 years, and we played together for 3 years. And to experience playing football and playing a team, I mean, it's amazing. And I had Travis next to me, and it was just an experience I can't describe, you know, and the former football players in here know what it's like to have someone that you can count on. And, you know, our motto was hit 'em and whip 'em. It was, truly, and we did, truly. So just a real quick story how I got here at San Diego State. I was fortunate enough to be recruited by other universities, and at that time, junior colleges were really heavy into recruiting high school athletes, and I became friends of a junior college coach who was recruiting me to go to his junior college in Orange County, where I played high school football. And then one day he came, and I was lucky and fortunate enough to sign a letter of intent to go to University of Utah. That was my choice of the universities. And this gentleman at the junior college called me, and he said, "Whip, I got to know right now on the phone." He called me on the phone. He goes, "I got to know right now, are you going to go to a 4-year school, or do we have a shot out here for you to come here to our junior college?" And I said, "Just signed a letter of intent to go to University of Utah, coach." He said, "Great, I just got the defensive line coach at San Diego State. How about coming here on a recruiting trip?" And I thought, I don't really want to go. I made up my mind. And but he was such a good guy. His name was Ken Madison. I drove from Orange County one Saturday down to San Diego, and you know, my life changed. I met Claude, his staff, and Don Coryell had a free agent tryout at Old Aztec Bowl. And when I was invited to sit next to Don Coryell, and he was that camp, tryout camp was for he was coaching the St. Louis Cardinals. And I sat next to him for about 20 minutes, and he described to me what it's like to be a football player at San Diego State, what his philosophy was, what a man Claude was, and literally, and talking about his players and the tradition that we had here. So what I did right after meeting Coach Coryell, I walked over to Peterson Gym, put a quarter in the phone, called my dad up, this is a true story, and said, "Dad, I'm an Aztec." True story. And, you know, what an effect these coaches have had on my life, and so grateful. And my junior and senior year, we were 10-1. Senior year, we were 16th ranked team in the nation. And to give you an idea of the players that played for Claude, one of them, Herm Edwards, who was an NFL coach. Right now, Chicago Bears coach is John Fox, played for Claude. And that's what happens here at this university. And I got to tell you, Rocky Long reminds me of Claude. They're hard-nosed and passionate men, but there's something about both of them that the players, you know, when you're a player on a team, your head coach it affects you, and these guys are doing a hell of a job. Rocky, of course, is doing a hell of a job, and he's got a game this tomorrow, right? I guess they're playing Stanford. And when my senior year, same circumstance happened. Florida State rolled into town. I think they were close to being in the top 10 in the nation. And I don't know what they did. Maybe they spent too much time at the zoo. But when we played them, I mean, we kicked their ass. We won by 3 touchdowns. Anyhow, and I got a feeling that's going to happen tomorrow. I do. You know, and I just want to close with this. I love San Diego State. I do. And I know tomorrow we will win. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, inductee into the Aztec Hall of Fame, Whip Walton.